who couldn't make it today because of a certain incident that happened to her. So I really don't have much to say because I'm not really prepared. It's just to apologize that she couldn't make it today due to she's hospitalized.
All right. Our apologies about that. We share speed recovery. We know Black people were strong, so she will recover soon. We will be with her in our prayers as well. Thank you so much, our sister Anna Nigola, for the updates. I tried to reach her and I couldn't. Maybe that was the issue. We'll put her in our prayers and we wish her a speed recovery. Thank you so much once again. I'm not so sure if our brother Lysia's today's network is okay, so that she can present on innovation and technology. Last time we couldn't hear him presenting due to network challenges, all the way again from the beautiful country of Namibia. Yes, brother Lysias, Frederick, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you, my brother.
Yeah, today we can hear you, I can see you clearly. Maybe you can give us a presentation on behalf of also the people of Namibia on innovative and technology around the globe.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. As I love Black people, my name is Frederick Lysias from Namibia. I'm standing here to represent my countries. My ambassadors, Anna Negora and Faith Natalia. I'm so sorry that one of our member is not feeling well. I want to greet all my co-founders and everybody's around the members and everyone who call it as a member. So I'm standing up today to talk more about technologies. I'm sure enough everybody understand what does technology means. So when you're talking about technology, technology is something that we use to communicate. Even as we are talking right now, as we are communicating right now, we are using technology and through on the Zooms just for us to work together and to meet up. The great thing about technology, it brings like working together, collaboration. And working together is the key that can open all the Africans, at least so that we can work together and bring up a point that we can follow. The technology when it's coming, if you can remember at the time of pandemic coronavirus, a lot of people, they were suffering, and we're supposed to do a lot of things in that pandemic during the COVID-19. So because of African people, a lot of them, they are more out of technology. They don't know what to do in that time. It was so difficult for a lot of people to help themselves. And because of technology, we need to focus more on most of the equipment that will bring us more benefit, that will bring us something on the tables. Like either you can also do your business on through social media.
Yes, Brother Frederick, are you still on call? I think we lost Brother Frederick. I'm not so sure what happened. I know we face a lot of network challenges. That's why also more people are not joining the meeting due to data issues, network, Wi-Fi instability, everything is not okay. So I think again, Brother Frederick faced some network glitches on his end. But you wanted to express on how I love Black people as well is using tech in order to protect ourselves from racism and xenophobia globally. We launched an application called the I Love Black People Safe Places app. Hopefully each and every one of you does have that application in their phones. We work as members and ambassadors. with the help of all of you on this meeting and others who couldn't join us due to network issues. And also, they do help us in sharing the places around the globe. So you can get the link to download the application through the chat room. We've shared it. And also on Facebook, you can get the link through the description. It's been displayed there. So the application is easy. All you need to do is to make sure that you turn your location on. And after you turn your location on, you need also to sign up on the application to be registered as a member. When you like the place, you have liked the place, and the database team and also our lead developers will make sure that if that place is on the tick, that means more people have shared it. They will put it on our online digital guide, which is I Love Black People. So all the idea is behind the Global Green Book. Hopefully all of you know it, but now we want to digitize it, and we managed to do it through the help of the excellence, like our co-founder, Sinclair Skinner, who is also an engineer, and Mr. Christopher Mapondera. He was supposed to give us a speech today, but unfortunately, he got delayed at his farm. He's doing farming here in Zimbabwe. He came here in Zimbabwe a month ago. He's a busy man doing farming, and also he always encouraged us, all of us, to make sure that we use the piece of land which we have to do farming. Make sure that the land is not there just staying there without being used. Make sure that you use it in farming, mining, for resources, and use them because the white colonizers used them before, but now it's our chances. We are independent, we have the right to our land, and we need to use it. So today, as I said, we are going to have the Pan-African History Lecture with Nana Akua, with Dr. Saving Wright, she's a professor at the University of New York, and she's the lead on the Pan-African history. So reading materials are going to be shared in the group. For those who are not on our Telegram group or WhatsApp groups, we kindly encourage you to send through your number so that you'll be added in those groups where reading materials have been shared. We want this meeting to be interactive as ever. So at the end of each lecture, make sure that if you do have any questions from Nana Akua or from the lecturers who will be leading through, make sure that you ask them. We'll try to unmute some of you if you do have questions directed to our professors. And also, we'll make sure that during the week, we're going to host a Twitter space as well, whereby vision, mission, and goals of I Love Black People will be shared by our co-founder. We will have Mr. Sinclair maybe to host the Twitter space so that everyone will be enlightened, especially those who have just joined us. But in brief, it's been said by our ambassador, Zoe Wusu, on how we are using tech to protect ourselves. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. If you are in an area where there's no racism and xenophobia, make sure that you share as many places as you can, because we need the whole world to know that such places exist, even here in Africa. So that's the thing. And also, I wanted to highlight on the job opportunities within I Love Black People. Send through your CVs through the numbers which are provided on the flyers. We do have an opportunity of a social media manager and also moderators to help us moderate groups, WhatsApp groups. We do have around 110 WhatsApp groups with at least 200 plus members in each group. Some of the groups have 400 people, some of them 500. So it depends on the groups which we'll be moderating. So we need great people who will help us. We know people are volunteering in the sharing of Love Black People safe places, and also in giving us ideas on how to improve ourselves, because we will be helping each other throughout the world. So we need people whereby you are being paid to do the social media, that is creating content, sharing posts, and attending to comments and messages. We do have around 700 plus K followers on Facebook, and also around 8,000 followers on Instagram, around 2,000 on Twitter, and our LinkedIn is a low number of people. I think it's around 500. So we need to have a greater social media manager to push us, and also to make sure that all the world know that the Love Black people exist. Yeah. So you should send your CVs if you have experience in social media managers. You should send through your CV so that the team will review. All those who have sent through their CVs, they are under review and will be notified when you are going to be hired. So stay tuned, and also you'll be notified about the hiring. The process is still going on. The team is still selecting the best for the job. So, and also again, I wanted to announce about the meetups which are coming soon. Stay tuned as well, as we are still processing the things which are needed for the meetups. We need to hire people, or to invite people in our areas where you are with the different ethnic groups. So here in Zimbabwe, I might invite also people to come over from Bulawayo way, the Ndebele, which is another tribe as well. So we need to spread love. No matter which tribe are you, we need to be united and work together, and to make sure that we spread love in all the corners of the earth. So that's the updates of our Love Black people at the moment. The job opportunities at the meetups which are coming soon. So stay tuned as well. So for the meetups, you can reach out to Yvonne Tushume, and she will enlighten you about the stages or the procedures which are needed to be done. Hopefully by December, all will be set, and the finances as well, the co-founders, making sure that the source funds for these meetups to be successful. Yes, and those who are in Zimbabwe, our offices are located at the Harare International Conference Center at the Rainbow Towers Hotel, office number 6. You can come through and help us with the work which we are doing. We do have ambassadors and members from Zimbabwe who help us with making calls. We make sure that we reach to each and everyone wherever you are, checking on you, and also educating you about what a Love Black people is all about, because we do have new members joining on a daily basis. And also, some of you, thank you so much, you joined from the Facebook sponsored post whereby you signed up for the Pan-African class. We do appreciate that. And also to support the movement, to join these lectures and the Zoom meetings, it's for free. But for you to acquire a certified certificate, you should also pay for that certificate. So the certificate costs only $15, payable via Visa, World Remit, Western Union, PayPal. So links have been shared also in our groups on how to purchase that certificate. Again, we like to congratulate those who paid their certificates. We have, I'm not so sure, I don't have their names now, but you can check the names on our website of those people who did have the certificates, who paid for the certificates. We thank you so much for the support which you are giving for the Love Black people community. In order for us to move forward, we need also these funds. In order for the meetups to go on, we need these funds. So let's support the movement by purchasing the certificates. It only costs $15. It's a one-time payoff, and you'll be awarded a certificate of performance for the Pan-African course. Yeah, so I'm waiting for Dr. Tyrone Wright to start joining the meeting, but I think we can still have our brother Lysias to finish up on the presentation about innovative technology, so that you can have a hear about what he did. I think, yeah, I think he's still facing the network challenges. So maybe we'll jump off to the Pan-African course. Then after that, if Nana Akua is settled, that's when we are going to have the healthcare and the holistic lecture. Yes, as Dr. Tyrone Wright is still joining. He's not yet on call. Yes, Dr. Tyrone Wright is not yet on call. So maybe we can have Sister Yvonne Tushime just give us a 3 minutes highlight of what are we going to do, or what's on the plan for these meetups, whereby we'll be meeting each other in the respective countries where we are. Yes, Sister Yvonne Dushume, can you hear me? Yes, I need to just give us an update on, just enlighten us 3 minutes on what these meetups is all about and how are we going to do it.
Okay. Yes, greetings everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, depending where you are. As my brother said, my name is Dushime Yvonne and I'm Rwandese, like I'm from Rwanda. So about the meetups, we are going to have the meetups in different African countries, and where you will, as a member or an ambassador, you will invite your friend from a different ethnic group. As my brother said, I think he's Shona. He can even invite a Edebele friend. So that will be a great opportunity, like to expand also to let our brothers and sisters from different ethnic groups to know more, like to know us, and also have them help us to share more safe places for Black people. As you know, like Black people, they face racism and xenophobia all over the world. So we are the one that we have to take like the first step to stop that, because you're not going to wait for someone else to do that. So the meetups will take place, we're not sure about the dates, but we'll let you know soon about the days for each country. But be prepared, we are going to meet and discuss more about love Black people and how we can protect ourselves as Black people. So I think that's all, my brother. What? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you so much. I've heard you. And also, I think if you do have questions on how are we going to go about the meetups, you can drop them in the chat room as well, so that we can have Sister Yvonne get those questions or feedbacks, or even if you do want to contribute something to these meetups, you can also let us know in the chat room. And those also who are on Facebook, you can just communicate through the comment section. We'll get to your messages and also we'll respond as usual. So I think Yvonne, Dr. Wright isn't joined yet, right?
Yes, not yet, but he's joining in 5 minutes.
She said she's going to join in 5 minutes.
Yes.
Yeah, so in the meantime, I'm going to share the link for us all to purchase our certificates, which is a Love Black People Pan-African History Certificate of Completion. So I'm going to share it right now, so that those who didn't get a chance to receive the certificates last time, so you should purchase that certificate and it will be shared to you. And again, congratulations to those who received their certificates for the last lectures. We do appreciate for the support. I can mention a few: Brother Solali, and also Brother Oliver Huggins from the US. Thank you so much for purchasing the certificates. So those who joined us through Telegram group, hopefully, if you didn't receive a call, I asked for all of you to respond by Black Fist, so that you will be enlightened about the movement and where we are going, where we are coming from, and what we are doing as a Love Black People in terms of protecting Black people from racism and xenophobia. So we do appreciate those who supported us through purchasing the certificate. So I think Sister Yvonne Dushume, you can send the payment links to everyone in the chat room as well, and also on Facebook we can share the links as well to those who are interested to acquire the certificates. I think there was someone from Cameroon who was saying I'm from Cameroon, by but presently studying in Rwanda, just recently joined the Love Black People movement. So you can also get in touch with Sister Yvonne Dushume in Rwanda and make sure that all the people, your friends and their circle know about this wonderful movement which is using tech. Hopefully, Yvonne, you take note of Chair Leslie so that you get meet up to with him as well. And also, you might help you with these meetups in Rwanda as well, so that people will be meeting up. Yeah, unfortunately, we do have two speakers who couldn't join today. Sister Anna Stella, she's currently in Japan, and at the moment, she couldn't join. In Japan right now, it's 1 a.m. So she used to join, but she just informed me that something came up and she couldn't join to present on behalf of people of Kenya. So that's the news. And also our brother Clyde Fowler from Guyana, he couldn't join today again due to meetings which he had to attend. So again, hopefully next week, we're going to have our brother Clyde Fowler giving us updates on what transpired on these meetings, where they are using their power and influence in terms of protecting Black people from racism and xenophobia. So we do appreciate all of you who are using their own precious time and also spending time joining the movement on a precious Saturday. We might have plans to do, but you hope to join us and help us to protect Black people from racism and xenophobia. Yes, I can see the challenge we are having is network issues. That's why these lectures were reduced to 30 minutes. They were normally 1 hour per lecture, but due to network challenges upon ourselves in Africa, we have reduced them. And also, I think I've said it again, to those who just joined us, make sure that if you're in Zimbabwe, you visit a Love Black People offices, you are always welcome, and help us with the work which we are doing in the office. It will be with me and our sister, Alim Gamchrai. I think some of you know through our WhatsApp, whereby she will be sending messages and also in the process of recruiting people. So don't say I Love Black People doesn't give job opportunities. Where these chances arise, take note of it. You are the ones who have the first preferences. If you are members and ambassadors who support us so that we move forward, you are the first preference of these job opportunities. So I urge all of you to join and to send through your CVs, so that you'll be selected, and also follow the instructions which you have been told, the tasks. They're important in order for us to have one of the best people to lead and help us with our social media. So we need a professional person, and if you do have experience, don't hesitate to send through your CV through the advertising number. I think if you don't have those numbers, you can check on our Facebook. I can see Buteke Bu. I think Liberia, you said it doesn't support PayPal. We do also Visa. If you don't have Visa, you can also do World Remit, MoneyGram, or Mukuru. I'm not so sure if it's there as well in Liberia. So, or you can just tell us what method of payment you are capable of, or which you are comfortable of using. We can let you know with our finance team so that they can assist you as well. Yeah. So I think that's all the questions which we have. If we do have any questions, we're going to host a Twitter space this week, whereby we will be discussing, and make sure that if you want to talk on the Twitter space, you join using your mic and not as a listener only. To those who are not on Twitter, you can still listen to the conversation through Twitter as well. Yes, again, our brother Elijah will be helping our sister. All right, I think brother Elijah, if I'm not so sure if you had prepared that report for the Kenyan report. I'm not so sure if you did prepare it, but Sister Anna Stella didn't share the report because of the commitments. But next week, yeah, you can help us with the report for the Kenya. Yes, Brother Elijah also is the master planner for the meetups as well. Hopefully you will resume soon his job so that he can organize these meetups with everyone of you. Usually some of you did reach out to Brother Elijah with your proposal for places where to meet up. So we are going to continue with the project. We didn't want to disappoint anyone. So again, it was literally staged by the Black Blockchain Summit, which was hosted by a lot of Black people recently with our co-founders speaking about crypto. Again, I can see Siabonga Peter, you're asking how do you register for the Pan-Africanist course? If you're not in our groups, kindly share your WhatsApp number so that we can aid you in those groups where written materials have been shared. And to those who don't have the syllabus, you can also share your phone number so that we can aid you to the specific groups which have been shared. We do have many groups in our WhatsApp. Some of you did these courses before, and also some of you are new. So the groups, we also do have country groups whereby we do have members and ambassadors from different countries. So make sure that you are in one of these groups so that you'll be able to receive these reading materials. Yeah, I think Dr. Wright is also fixing some things because she's not joining yet for the Pan-African history. She was supposed to start the meeting at 10:30 Central EEST, but unfortunately she's not on this call, and she reached out saying she will join in 5 minutes. I'm not so sure what is holding here. So we're going to wait for Dr. Trident Wright. Yeah, I can see. Yeah, thank you so much, Peter. I've seen your phone number. I'll make sure that you join those group. And also Rodwell, thank you so much. Those who are on Facebook, kindly use the links which have been shared there. You will be directed to those groups so that you start receiving reading materials. Yeah, so we are going to have Dr. Wright join. She's joining in a minute. She just wrote to us that she's joining now to start the Pan-African history. So for the handouts again, as I said, for Nana Akua, for those healthcare lectures, I'm sharing now the email address for Nana Akua so that you can reach out to her to see the handouts for the herbs, the holistics, stress relief. If you don't have those handouts, you can reach out to this email. I just shared it in the chat room, nanaakua1@gmail.com. You can reach out to her if you'd like some reading materials, and also if you'd like some questions for her about something which has to do with herbs, health, natural, holistics, and everything. She's always free to attend to each and every one of you so that you get assisted. Yes, Sister Yvonne, did you reach out to Dr. Wright?
Yes, she's joining.
All right, thank you. So let's stay tuned for the Pan-African history lecture with Dr. Trident Wright. I think today she'll go an extra mile within 1 hour because Nana Akua is traveling, and if she gets on a settled place, she'll be able to join the meeting. So we're only a minute for Dr. Wright to join and start the Pan-African organizing class. Yeah. So in the meantime, if you haven't downloaded the app, I'm going to reshare again the link for you to grab the application. If you do have feedbacks for the application or any features which you'd like us to include on the app, don't hesitate to reach out to us. Or this app was designed by one of you members and ambassadors who help us with these features which are there. So help us to be better by just sharing on what you want to appear on the application. So I just shared again the link for the application for those who don't have. So this the I Love Black People app is the one which is powering this Pan-African history class. So let's support the movement by using the application. It's free to download the app and also to use it. You can use it at any time. You can even recommend a place in less than a minute, I can say. It's less than 10 seconds. With just one click, you'll be sharing a place. Then the tech team will have the place uploaded on our online digital guide, which is iloveblackpeople.com. And also, if you haven't visited our website yet, kindly do so. We do have our radio show. Yes, I can see Dr. Wright is there. So I was saying our radio show is also on our website. The pre-recorded sessions have been streamed on our website. So if you want to listen on how these discussions are going in terms of protecting Black people and also uplifting messages for Black people, visit our website. And also, you can see more on the resources on the website. Navigate through it and you'll be helped. So we're going to have Dr. Wright to start off with the Pan-African history. Yes, Dr. Wright, welcome.
Yes, good morning. Good morning.
Thank you so
How's
much. How's
everyone doing?
Everyone is doing well. Thank you for joining earlier. We know that you were not supposed to start at this hour.
Yes, no problem. But so you'll see me in a second. I had to re-download Zoom for a moment. My phone is so full, so I had to re-download. But you'll see me in a second on camera. So welcome everyone. I hope you all had a chance to read the chapter that I shared last week, which was on Booker T. Washington, Pan-Africanism and Pan-Africanists. And this week, what we'll be covering is the chapter, the first evidentiary chapter, I think, let's make sure, on the African exclusion measure. No, I think I already shared that, right? I need to go back and look. So the evidentiary chapter is the first example of Pan-Africanism in practice. And it was in 1914 that this case arose. So if you notice, one of the things that I stated at the beginning of the course is that we'll be looking at policy cases or legal cases. And this is one of them. So I'm going to try to share in real time. Let me make sure. Okay, yeah. So you guys read the Booker T. Washington, Pan-Africanism and Pan-Africanist. Okay, so today I'll be sharing the African exclusion measure, which is very interesting. It's a piece of US legislation. And the reason why we will be looking at it is because of the fact that it was racist legislation in nature. It was going to be applied internationally. And it would be someone who was not considered a Pan-Africanist, but was certainly a Pan-Africanist in practice, who would get this racist and unfair measure thrown out, okay, eliminated. And guys, you'll see me on camera in a minute. You know, we're starting earlier, so I'm still navigating things on this end. But so it would be none other than Booker T. Washington, actually, who challenged and defeated this racist measure. So I'll give you a little background, and then I'm going to share the case. And then, of course, you'll see me a little bit with regard to the lecture portion of the course today. Okay, so let me tell you a little of the history so that you can understand where this originated. In 1914, the country, Colombia, would reject the United States offer or request to build a canal. So the United States actually fueled the conflict between Colombia and what would become known as Panama in order to cut through the landmass in Central America. And why would they want to do this? They wanted to do this primarily because to open up the waterways between the Gulf, where the Gulf and Atlantic Ocean are, and the Pacific Ocean would mean that people trying to trade from the eastern seaboard of the United States would have the Pacific Ocean accessible to them. So they would not have to go across the Atlantic Ocean or around the North American landmass. Whoever could cut through this piece of land that is Central America would become a world power, in essence. Okay, it would become would have prowess in terms of trade. So the United States is not the first ones to attempt this. The first would be the French, and they failed. Okay, the French attempted to cut through Central America. However, they failed at it. And the United States military under Theodore Roosevelt would be the next who would try to do this engineering project to become the dominant force in world trade of goods. Okay, so that's just a little bit of a background. Now, who would be the laborers on such an endeavor? None other than the Black and African population of the Caribbean, Central and South America. That would be who would labor on the Panama Canal. And as a result, the US military would pay for this to be done, and would pay in US wages. Okay, that being the case, it was a racist endeavor, meaning that it was very segregated. It was a endeavor that exploited the conflict between Panama and the Panama and Colombia, right? And so I don't know what that is, y'all. The general alarm in the area is going off. I don't know why. But anyway, it would exploit this conflict and fuel, the United States would fuel the resistance in Colombia, Black resistance in Colombia, which would allow them to initiate and break away from Colombia. So in other words, let me say it a little clearer. Let me stay, and I'm about to be on camera, so. Okay, I hope you guys can see me here. All right, so the conflict would allow, so the United States would fuel rebel forces in Colombia that would then be able to break away and initiate their own country called Panama. Now, the reason why the United States, they're not a country that supports resistance to racist regimes, but in doing this, in having this group break away and form Panama, now the United States can sort of say, you know, we own you, you're obligated to us, you know, we support you, you support us, and then allow this engineering project, which will pushed the United States to the front of world trade. And so it is allowed as a result of fueling that, right? The idea that the United States is aligned with Black resistance movements to racist regimes, no, they had a capitalist agenda behind it. That being said, what would emerge is Panama. Now, the United States military would be on this project, and they would essentially hire the Black inhabitants of the Caribbean, right? So Haiti, Jamaica, Trinidad, Central America, Costa Rica, what would now be Panama, all of the neighboring countries, and South America, Colombia, or where there still are Blacks, Brazil, Venezuela, all of those countries and all those countries in the regions, the Black and African inhabitants of that part of the world would be the laborers hired to put together the Panama Canal. Now, what was the Panama Canal? The Panama Canal was a series of locks. So they would shave down the earth, the rock, the landmass that was Central America, cut across it. And then as cutting across it, build, spread out locks, okay? Walls that were functional locks. And why would they do this? As they shave down the landmass at, let's say, sea level or a little below sea level, these locks would allow the water to flood into those areas, lifting ships above the remaining landmass, okay? So it allowed as a ship to go from the Gulf of Mexico, be raised up by the water, then another lock opens up, raised up by the water, eventually raised up across the land in that region, okay? So it allowed ships to go over land and opening up the waterways. If you understand a little geography, you know the Gulf of Mexico connects to the Atlantic Ocean. And on the other side of Central America and the west coast of North America is the Pacific Ocean, right? And you have access to Asia and all of the other side of the world without having going around the North and South American land masses. So whoever perfected this and was able to cut across this landmass would be able to trade from east to west without having to go around major pieces of land and extending the trip by weeks, possibly months. Okay. And the United States would be able to do this using Black laborers from that part of the world. Well, when this project was completed in 1914, after years and years of using Black laborers, they decided that thank you to the Black laborers who built the Panama Canal, who died on the Panama Canal because there were serious bouts with yellow fever, okay, which is spread by a fly. Many people who worked on the Panama Canal died. It was a segregated project, meaning the Black workers, laborers, and the white administrators lived in separate quarters. They made different wages. Now, while the wages probably were better than not being employed at all at the time, workers would come from all over the Caribbean, Central and South America, Black and African workers. And when I say Black and Africa, let me just say this. I go by what Dr. John Henry Clark says. Black tells you how you look. African tells you who you are. So I'm telling you how they look, but I'm also telling you who they are culturally and their place of origin, meaning that the Black and the African inhabitants of the Caribbean, Central, and South America are indigenous to the African continent. Make no mistake about it. They're not necessarily indigenous to the Americas. And really, be quite frank with you, nobody's indigenous to the Americas. Humanity originates in Africa, right? That's why we watch The Journey of Man, A Genetic Odyssey. Okay. But we know that. So just to give clarity, so the workers would then travel from all over to work on the Panama Canal. So they were not necessarily from Panama. They were from all over the Caribbean, Central and South America. They had gotten used to American wages, okay? They were paid in US dollars, of course. Not of course, but they were. That being said, the project had been completed in November of 1914. At that point, the US senator out of Missouri in the United States knew that the possibility of the workers on the Panama Canal to immigrate to the United States was a possibility, okay? To seek further employment and or to maintain a certain quality of life in terms of receiving US wages, right? This senator's name was James Reed, and he immediately, as a member of the Senate, US Senate, proposed in the Senate the last day of the year in 1914 to exclude anyone of the Black or African race from the United States forever. Okay. He would put this into the larger immigration bill. It was the amendment, it was the 19th amendment to the larger immigration bill that will come before the Congress in January of 1915. He could not wait. And I make it a point to tell you when he initiated this, because he initiates it on what we would consider Christmas Eve, the last day, New Year's Eve, the last day of the year, December 31st, 1914. And the Panama Canal had only been completed 1 month before. This was a move to say to the workers, the Black and the African working people and laborers who made many sacrifices to work on the Panama Canal, thank you for your labor. No, thank you on the question of immigration. We do not want to allow you into this country. And not only would this lock out Black people from the Caribbean, Central and South America, but it would also lock out African people from the continent in general, from around the world. It was a sweeping piece of legislation that would have an international impact forever. Even more, it was racist in nature, not just because it targeted human beings by racial categorization, which is only how you appear, right? It says nothing about you culturally per se, but it was unfairly tied to an idea that one who was Black or African could be put in the same category as undesirables and criminals attempting to enter the country. So let me say it another way. The denial, this exclusionary measure, would not only deny African and Black people, but it would deny them on the same basis as it did undesirables and criminals attempting to enter the country. So this is one of the earlier cases where you see this criminalization of Black and African people, making Black and African synonymous with criminality, okay? And using that as a basis to deny people in terms of immigration to the United States. This measure passed in the Senate as proposed by James Reed. It was due to go to the House of Representatives in January, the first week of January in 1915, just a week later after it was proposed and passed in the Senate. And if it passed in the Congress, it would become part of the larger immigration bill and part of US immigration policy forever until someone else struck it down. That being said, a unlikely figure known as Booker T. Washington was the person who was watching the congressional record and found that this measure was due to come up before the Congress. He organized behind the scenes. In the chapter I'm going to share with you, I share the details of how he organized to defeat and throw out this unfair and racist measure. Okay. He does this within 1 week. Now, this case is significant because it is why we can call someone like Booker T. Washington, who was not a pronounced Pan-Africanist in the public realm, a Pan-Africanist definitively. So let me say that again. This is the reason why we can call someone like Booker T. Washington, who was not known as a Pan-Africanist in the public realm, we can qualify his actions and identify him as a Pan-Africanist because he did not announce what he did. He just did it. And he did it successfully, meaning that he stopped the US government from locking out African people from around the world, from the Caribbean, Central and South America, forever in 1 week, okay? He used something called the Tuskegee Machine, which was his secret network of power brokers. He used the Black Press, which was his major tool to a large extent. He had significant control behind the scenes of the Black Press. And it was through these two vehicles primarily that he is able to defeat the African exclusion measure. Had he not defeated the African exclusion measure, the very next year, Marcus Garvey would not have been able to come into the United States, and he did, under the invitation of Booker T. Washington, okay? All of the people that you know who would come into existence in the United States or come to the United States and coalesce with African people in America would not have happened. In other words, there would have not been a Malcolm X whose mother was born in the Caribbean, because certainly she came after 1915. There would not have been, for those who care, a Barack Obama born in the United States, because his father, who comes from Kenya, would not have been allowed into the United States. Now, hey, listen, I don't know, for some of us, it wouldn't have mattered, right? Like, I don't know what he did for Black people per se. But for those of you who think he did something, you wouldn't have your Barack Obama. There would not have been a Kwame Nkrumah who would come here and be able to attend Lincoln University and prepare himself to go back to Ghana and lead his country to independence, because he would not have been able to get into the country. I can go on and on and on. The list is extensive. There would have been no Fela, for those of you like Fela and Afrobeat, because it is Fela's interaction with Black artists who are playing jazz that allow him to bring the two musical genres together, right? He is politicized here in the United States by the so-called African American population and creates the dual genre of what is now known as Afrobeat, right? But so much interaction between us, between the continent of Africa and the United States, and between the United States, African people here in the United States, and African people in the Caribbean, Central and South America. This is today still the reason why African people from around the world can come into the United States, because this one person, and there were other people who opposed this racist measure, this person, this individual, Booker T. Washington, had the strength to challenge US foreign policy that would reverberate forever. Let me say it more specifically. He had the consciousness to challenge racist U.S. foreign policy that would have reverberated for decades, at least for the next century, okay, and effectively locked out African and Black people, okay? So that is the case that you are going to read about, that I'm going to be sharing, and you have the details. Let me show you the book it's coming from. It's coming from this book, okay? It's called Booker T. Washington, Africa, The Making of a Pan-Africanist. I'm actually the author of this book. You do not have to buy the book. I'm not here to sell the book. The book is for sale, but it's not for you all. I'm giving you guys the last chapter you read on Booker T. Washington, Pan-Africanism and Pan-Africanist comes from that book. But I'm gonna also put in the group the chapter on the African exclusion measure. Okay, and we will use that to discuss. The point of it all, though, is that we want to see what it looks like when we put in practice. Now, years before, you guys read the chapter on Booker T. Washington, Pan-Africanism and Pan-Africanist. So you get some idea about the history of Pan-Africanism, why this individual associated himself and identified himself with Africa. But then you get to see a case where he takes action, right? He could have very well, as an African person, a Black person born within the United States, said, oh, well, the US is racist. They're gonna lock Black people out who are not born here. So what, right? He didn't. He identified with African people globally and then challenged the very government he lived under. What does this do? This gives us a model. If you live in the UK, you live anywhere in the world that attempts to lock and marginalize African people from other parts of the world, then this is the posture you should find yourself in. Okay? And this particularly also applies to xenophobia. I have to go off camera right now, but I'm going to keep talking, all right? And then I'm going to share the document. This particularly also applies to xenophobia. If you exist in a country that has bias towards African people from other parts of the world, it is your job to say, no, we cannot function like this. Okay, we need to be Pan-Africanist in nature, right? So this doesn't just apply to where we are in relationship to European countries. This applies to us when it comes to the idea of being African and rejecting other Africans from other parts of the world, right? Where nationalism does not function to our benefit, okay? And that for us, when it's amongst us, that means xenophobia, right? So some of what, not to condemn anyone, but some of what we find happening in some parts of South Africa, right? So this is a case where we get a chance to look at through action how and why we must come to the defense of African people globally, okay? Not just in our particular national, our particular nation, right? Pan-Africanism allows us to do that. The unity of African people for the purpose of eradicating oppression and exploitation. That's the objective of Pan-Africanism, okay? That we defend each other in the face of racism, which is exploitative and oppressive, okay? So this case is a perfect example, and it likewise for European nations, meaning that if you are in a place like the UK, or you're in a place like Spain or Italy or anywhere in the world where you're living under a Western government, a European government, and they enact racist policies, then it is your job to, in essence, challenge the very government you live under with regard to their racist policy as it relates to African people. Nowhere is more racist than the United States. I'm just going to be honest with you. Okay. United States is built on racism. Okay. That's not a secret. They have openly shown the world this, right? They've shown the world this through action, and you see it through our social movements and the killings and the marginalization that has taken place here. And it is our obligation as African people who live under this government to challenge every step of the way racist pathology, racist governments with regard to this, okay? And so this case is sort of a blueprint, right? A model for how to do that, right? And the case gets very specific about what Booker T. Washington's lieutenants in the Tuskegee machine do with respect to this measure. So that's what we're going to be sharing today. I'm actually looking for it right now so that I can share it with you guys. And I will be putting that up, and I'm going to open up like the reading so that you can look at it on here. Those of you who are not in the WhatsApp group will be able to see it as I share it here. But in terms of having the actual document, you have to be officially registered for the course and part of, the actual course in particular, okay? So give me 1 second, let me open it up, and I'm actually gonna be sharing my screen, so give me 1 second. 1 second. One moment, folks. I didn't mean to press that mute button. Okay, it's in my books. Okay, all right, so this is what we're going to be, here we go. The African exclusion measure. So can I have permission to share my screen, please? Screen, okay.
Yes, you do.
Okay, perfect. All right, so this is it right here. And so it is chapter 6 of that book that I showed you all. And it is called the African Exclusion Measure, okay? And it starts out with a quote, as you notice, even the other chapter started out with a quote. It starts out with a quote, and it says, through your newspaper, I desire to appeal to the American Congress and to the people of the United States in favor of fair play and justice in connection with the immigration bill now pending before the United States Senate, which by amendment excludes from coming into this country any person of African descent, okay? And this was, that little quote came from an article Booker T. Washington wrote. I can tell you what book it was. Let me see. What publisher? Okay, no, I can't. It's probably another page. But the citations are at the bottom there. That being said, he publishes this in the newspaper. It was a full article, and that's just a quote from the article. And here you have the whole case. It's not as long as the last chapter. It's pretty brief. I think it's I'm pretty sure it's less than 10 pages. and it gives you some clear understanding of the details of the case. That right there is a picture of the procession at Tuskegee when Booker T. Washington died. Let me just say this. I use this case primarily because it's an example of how we can challenge racist policies internationally everywhere we are. However, that's a whole nother course for me to teach on Booker T. Washington and the issues related to his role in Africa. So I'm not exactly trying to do that. I am really using this as an entry point to the conversation of Pan-Africanism, okay? So this is the chapter that you will see in our WhatsApp group. I'm also going to be sharing a couple of other short items before we move on to the highest expressions of Pan-Africanism as we can see it exhibited on the African continent, okay? So I will be sharing this at the end of our session, and we can essentially discuss during the course of the week and or comment, okay? Let me just ask folks, do they understand really briefly what I shared today? I'm gonna take that off and I'm gonna go in the chat. And if they had any questions about this particular case that we're going to be looking at as an example of Pan-Africanism in practice. Okay, so you could jump in the chat and, you know, ask me some questions related to this. This is, like I said, a pretty short case. So I like that because it seems like people are able to digest it very quickly and, you know, without, you know, too much effort or involvement, right? I stopped using another case that's in this book because of the fact that it took too much. It was too long, right? People would have to do too much reading to really get the details of the case. And this case is short, to the point, very succinct, and very much actionable, okay? So if you have any questions, you can write it in the chat. Oh, okay, I'm sorry, Njai. Somebody said, you know, there's an issue with regard to having this only in one language, in English. I understand. I totally understand. Sorry, but that is definitely the mark of colonialism, okay? Unfortunately, that is you know, that is the present situation. Maybe in the future we'll get to a point where we have translators and we can speak across the many languages, right? Okay. You know, but look, you would have the same problem if I spoke the little rudimentary Wolof that I could speak, right? Because the majority of people don't speak Wolof, right? So, so that's the only indigenous African language that I actually speak, and that would be insufficient here as well. Okay, so no questions. No questions? Nobody has any questions to add into the chat? No? Okay. All right. Well, what time is it? All right, it's 11:27. So we've been on a little bit, but like a half an hour. So we got about 15 minutes. Usually people have a lot of questions, but okay, I see that you don't this week. All right, so that's pretty much what I'm going to be sharing, along with one or two other things, okay, on Du Bois and a little bit on Marcus Garvey, as I did not share those items last week. Let me just talk a little bit about that. if you last week's reading dealt with Booker T. Washington, Pan-Africanism, and Pan-Africanists. Let me see if you can see me back on camera here. Yeah, okay. And I didn't go in depth about Du Bois or Marcus Garvey, but I do want to just give you a blip of that now, since I did not discuss that last week. Du Bois and Marcus Garvey are referred to in the last chapter that we read together as Pan-Africanists, and they would both go on to have a major impact on the Pan-African world. Marcus Garvey, I don't know what's wrong with my camera, okay, here, but anyway, it looks so weird, like the picture's small. Anyway, Marcus Garvey would go on to found the Universal Negro Improvement Association. So you guys probably saw that in the last chapter we read together, right? You had Marcus Garvey and you had Du Bois, and that's in the WhatsApp group, the chapter I shared. Marcus Garvey started the Universal Negro Improvement Association. And if you read the full chapter from last week, you see how him and Booker T. Washington start to communicate and what the benefits of that. Tuskegee is what Marcus Garvey will structure the UNIA, the Universal Negro Improvement Association, after. A lot of people don't know that, right? They totally disassociate the two individuals, but they're very much connected. Okay, Marcus Garvey, Booker T. Washington is also the inspiration for Marcus Garvey, and he says that. These aren't my own words. If you read the chapter, you know that. The Universal Negro Improvement Association would go on to be the largest Black nationalist and Pan-Africanist organization in the world. Never before, never after has there been a larger Black nationalist organization or a larger Black organization. This organization would largely be international in nature. It would have 47 chapters of the UNIA in the Western Hemisphere, and they will go on to be in every dock and port in the world where Black people and African people were in mass. Okay, so we've never had a larger Black or African organization in the world than the Universal Negro Improvement Association. That being said, that would be Garvey's contribution, the organizing of the Black world through the press. Once again, he had a paper called The Negro World, and this is how he organized people into that organization. So that would be his major contribution, just the fact that it was possible for us to be that organized. And yes, he's organized through the philosophy that Washington held, this independence through industry concept. Then you have W.E.B. Du Bois, who largely is the initiator of organizational bodies that were Pan-Africanist in nature. And I'm highlighting it again. I know that I mentioned this before briefly, but this is important as we move into the phase of the course where we start to critique what's actually happening on the African continent. Because Du Bois would be that person who was at the first Pan-African Conference in 1900. He is the sole survivor and initiates the Congresses in 1919. And the Pan-African Congresses are the body through which the Organization of African Unity comes about. And it is the think tank and the setting on through which African leadership on the continent of Africa would say, no, we can not only have independence of our individual countries, but we have to have continental independence, and we need to have continental unity. And that brings us right back to this concept of Pan-Africanism, the unification of African people for the purpose of eradicating oppression and exploitation. Okay, I heard somebody just recently make a comment that Pan-Africanism isn't simply unity. No, it's not. It's a commitment to eradicating oppression and exploitation. It's not enough for us to come together. when we come together with the precise purpose of addressing our condition and eradicating, fighting against, struggling against the exploitation of our people, the oppression of our people. That is Pan-Africanism. Coming together is not simply Pan-Africanism. Pan-Africanism is a verb. It is an action word. Okay. So like I've said, I didn't say this to this course, but there's courses in the past where I said, like, listen, if I have a party at my house and all of us represent almost every African nationality that we can in the world, everybody's showing up to my house from the continent of Africa to the Caribbean to the United States, just because we're from all those places in the world doesn't make it Pan-Africanist, right? If all we do is shuck and jive and tell jokes and do nothing. But if we come there for the precise purpose of addressing our common condition, organizing to address our condition and executing that, that is Pan-Africanist in nature. Okay. So it's ideological and it's actionable. Okay. If it does nothing for us, then it is not Pan-Africanist. This is why we can weigh and measure it, right? We can measure it. Did it produce? So with regard to this case, going back to the case, what did Washington's challenge to US immigration do? It allowed African people to come into the United States and for the purpose of benefiting, whether it was to go to school, whether it is to go to work, whether it is to leave a place where they were under more stress or duress. Yes, we can weigh and measure that. Do you get what I'm saying? The other opposing outcome would have been that the United States would have been able to deny other human beings on the basis of them being Black and African on site. Okay. So we can qualify that, right? Dr. John Henry Clark always talks about us as African people, Black people, we're always ready to celebrate the victory without qualifying the victory. So in this course, what we seek to do is qualify our victories in terms of Black and African people as it relates to Pan-Africanism and how it benefits us, right? So if it doesn't benefit us, it's not Pan-Africanist. It's just that simple. Okay, it's not just about us coming together, because we're in a lot of places together and we're not doing anything. Right? I mean, come on, let's tell the truth, right? When we come together with the precise purpose to address our condition, right? Then that is Pan-Africanist in nature. And so we must benefit for it to be conclusively Pan-Africanist. Okay. I'm going to look in the chat, see if you have any questions. If it does nothing, yes. Yes, if it does nothing for us, right? If it does nothing for us, we must benefit. Pan-Africanism is to our benefit, right? Hello, Titus from Uganda. Yeah, so someone asked me, can I recap? So you all going to be reading this chapter on the African exclusion measure. We're going to use that as an evidentiary chapter, an example, a case of where, an African person in the United States challenged the US government and US immigration policy to the benefit of African people globally. And you will get the details of that case of how he did that. So that will be shared in the group. And then I also briefly discussed return to Garvey and return to Du Bois as proponents of Pan-Africanism, who expressed their Pan-Africanism in various ways, but unequivocally, you could qualify each of their activity and to see how it benefit or it didn't benefit But for me to call them Pan-Africanists, I'm clear already that their activity, their contributions were to the benefit of African people. And why is that so important? Because unfortunately, what's happening with us in the world now and then is that we have been taught to work against our own best interest, right? So, so that's across the board on the continent of Africa, in the Americas, Caribbean, Central, South America. We are tricked very often into working against our own best interest. And that's also, so we'll talk about things being good for us or things being symbolic. We don't have time for symbolism. We are a people that around the world need so much, okay? We can't eat symbols, okay? Symbols can't protect us, not in a real way. We need material gains, and we need the kind of unity that protects our very lives, the most valuable thing we have. We don't have time for symbols and feelings per se. We need to be able to weigh and measure how we benefit from activity and from resources and from material gains that we are responsible for producing. Okay, presently what you have on the African continent is that other people benefit from the natural resources and the human resources of Africa more than African people do. Okay, and so this is why we must qualify, what comes out of our coming together. It's not enough to come together. Black folks, African people come together every Sunday in somebody's church around the world. And I'm not hating on anybody's religion, okay? Every Friday if you're a Muslim. But I want to know, what does it produce for us in our condition? What does it produce for us? Right? It may you feel, maybe it makes you feel better about your condition. Suffer a little more in silence about your condition, right? But in a tangible way, what has it? I mean, so coming together is not enough. We come together in schools, we come together here and there, everywhere. We come together, we do. We primarily in each other's company. But it hasn't taken us out of our condition, right? Worldwide, we still get our lives taken. Okay, it hasn't stopped that. We still disproportionately suffer from every ill in the world, whether it's disease, whether it's poverty, all of that. And still, we are the hardest working people on the earth, the most ingenuitive people on the earth, the most creative people on the earth, the wealthiest people, meaning we come from the most resource wealthy regions and locations in the world. The Congo and the 9 surrounding countries hold the bulk of the world's resources. Okay, let me say that again. The Congo and the 9 surrounding countries of the Congo hold a bulk and the concentration of the world's resources. There's no place in the world that is more resource wealthy. However, the people do not benefit from this. Okay. So what we want to do is sort of like flip that around. Not only do we want to protect our lives, protecting our lives allow us to protect everything else we produce after that. Right? So that's part of the reason why you're here with I Love Black People. Okay, because this course helps you get your mind right, prepared to engage in the work that you do. Okay. All right. So I'm going to end there. You'll see this is 11:42. So if it does nothing, yeah, exactly. So good day, brothers and sisters. This is my because okay. Hello, Sanko. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that's true. Coming together and just talking has been right. Is exactly. We come together in a whole bunch of places. What does it produce for us, right? So we have to consciously come together and work when we come together on strategies and tactics that alleviate our oppression and exploitation. Okay, so I'll be putting that particular case up into the WhatsApp group. And I will see you all next weekend. The name of my book is called Booker T. Washington and Africa, The Making of a Pan-Africanist. Award, can you post the link for my book if people want to go to the website? You don't have to buy the book to go to the website. You can go to the book's website and learn a little bit more about the cases, but you're going to get one of the cases because I'll be sharing it with you in WhatsApp. Okay. I think that's it. Yes, we do. We have a lot to fix. So, Award, can you put my link for the book? Or Yvonne, you have it. Yeah. For Booker T. Washington, Africa, The Making of Pan-Africa. If you're on a continent, don't buy the book. If you're in the UK, don't buy the book. If you want to buy the book, only do it if you're in the United States. Wait for it to come out on in a digital form. Okay, if you're outside the United States. If you're in the United States and you want to buy the book because you like to have books, even though I share, 2 of the chapters there, then you can do so. But it's not worth it if you're outside because to ship across seas is too much from here. Okay. But like I said, I already shared 1 chapter of the book and I'll be sharing another chapter from the book. Okay. All right, folks. Have a wonderful week. Be safe. I hope you enjoyed and got something from today's session. And I will see you next week. Okay. I am because we are. Bye-bye.
Yes, thank you very much, Dr. Wright, for
Thank you.
lecture.
Thank you, Yvonne. Can you share the if you can, or I could put it in the WhatsApp group.
Okay.
The thing for my book, right? And I'll be sure. Thank you, Rodwell. I will be sharing the chapter shortly. Okay. All right, folks. Have a good week and stay safe. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you. I am because we're.
Bye bye.
Okay. Bye.
Bye bye.